count the minutes. Perfect. So it is 9:50 a.m. I hereby call this meeting to order. This meeting on the Oregon Commission on Black Affairs on August 1st, 2024 is called to order. Ava, can you start the roll call for us, please?
Yes, thank you very much. Signify by saying present or aye. Chair Arvalo Asamoah.
Here.
Vice Chair Drury.
Present, ready to go.
Commissioner Duncan. Commissioner Dogo.
Present.
Senator Woods. Commissioner Rankin.
Present.
Representative Nelson.
Present.
Commissioner Fother Branch is having difficulty logging in. We're working on getting her into the meeting. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Hardin Moore. Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. We will skip the minutes because we don't have everyone here right now. And also, I'm guessing probably skip the agenda. That's fine as well. Or should we go over the agenda? Or should we just go into the? Could we go transition into the public comment period? Perfect. All right. So do we have any public comments?
This would be a good opportunity for the folks that are not commissioners that did an introduction to go ahead and jump in, just say where you're from, organization that you're with, area of the state, things of that nature. And if there's any things that you want to propose to OCBA.
I did see a hand up from Kenny Adams. Would you like to go ahead and?
Yeah, just wanted to reintroduce myself. My name's Kenny Adams. I am the executive director for the Fathers Group located in Central Oregon, really looking at the Bend, Redmond, Lapine, Madras, Prineville area. And I've been meaning to make it to one of these meetings for probably about 2 years now. So with the pressing of Terrence, I am here and I will be showing up moving forward. So I'm happy to be here. I don't have any suggestions yet. I'm just jumping into the pool. So I want to see how everything goes.
Thank you very much. We're glad you're here. Do we have any more public comments for this period?
I can reintroduce myself.
Absolutely.
Cheryl Roberts, a founding member and executive director of the African American Alliance for Homeownership. We're a HUD-approved housing counseling agency located in Portland. We serve basically the whole state, and good to see some familiar faces. Hello, Kenny and Jimmy, Mr. Doho, Commissioner Doho, how are you? Good to see you. And I think, Kyle, I wanted me to come and give you some information, and just whenever you want me to do that, I'm ready.
Thank you, Cheryl, for coming, and for some of commissioner and attendee here who may not know about Cheryl, but I am one of the beneficiary of her programs as immigrant and refugees. When I came to this country, I did not have any information regarding home ownership. And I went through this program, and at the end of the program, I became a homeowner. So again, thank you so much, Cheryl, for everything you're doing in our community.
Oh, thank you. I always let you tell your own story, but don't forget about that. Don't forget about that wonderful big chair you won, remember?
I know. I still have the picture.
He was featured in the Scanner News behind that chair. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone. We will. Terrence, your hands up.
Yes, thank you, Chair Asamoah. We do have one additional person from.
Oh,
Oh,
Terrence, you cut out.
You were just like glitchy, but I would try again.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, we do have one person from CFO office. Jason, not sure if you would like to introduce yourself, but now would be a great time to do so if you would like to.
Sure. Thanks, Terrence. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason Trombley. I'm with the DAS Chief Financial Office, and in my agency portfolio is the Advocacy Commission's office. So looking forward to attending your meetings and learning more about the work. It's good to meet you all.
Thank you, Jason. We're glad to have you here. And while we're still in the public comment period, do we have any more folks? Perfect. We will now transition into new business. Our first would be Cheryl Roberts, actually speaking on African American Alliance for Home Ownership. I think you have about 15 minutes. We can go ahead and start right now if you're ready.
Sure. Sure. Thank you. And thank you again for the invitation. I think I've stated my name, and I did let you know that we are a HUD approved housing counseling agency, and we do specialize in pre-purchase counseling and foreclosure prevention. And one of the things that, oh, and I also want to mention that 87% of our clients are people of color, mostly African Americans, African, and we have a few Asian Asian descent, and Latino. And I wanted, that was very interesting, what you were talking about, Dr. Rankin, and also Commissioner Doho, on the slavery. And I'm always interested in all the stories. There are many stories, but I think what where I moved the most is that, you know, the injustice is still there, because we were never brought to this country. I'm sorry. Uh-oh. There's something, no, I don't know what that noise was. But anyway, and so what I've been working on for the last 30 years is creating some type of justice in housing. And so that's what I'm presenting today, is just some information on what we've done to.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, is that you?
Yes.
Is that you, Commissioner Fotherbranch?
Yes, we can hear you. I think you can continue, Cheryl.
Should I
think she was
continue?
just,
Okay.
yeah, just wanting
Testing.
to see if her mic worked. Yeah.
Okay, it works. Okay, sorry. And so, so what we've been doing in the last 10 years is, again, helping individuals get their credit in order, save money, learn how to manage money. And I think that was one of the biggest issues that we've seen in the community, is that either folks weren't taught, or somehow maybe not enough money, but just definitely didn't have priorities over how money was spent. I have theories to some of that, but I'll keep my theories to myself for today. But so that was one of the issues. And so what we found is that the most, and in particular, it didn't matter what income level that folks were at. There was issues around deferred maintenance, or maybe the houses weren't upgraded, and they had underlying issues. Usually when people come to us and they're facing foreclosure, there's other issues. We always say there's other, we may not want to open that can of worms, because we need to be ready for that. And there's also little or no savings. And then, of course, no down payment. And also, some people are either underinsured or not insured at all. And then and also folks, because, not being savvy in finances, a lot of folks, especially back in the early 80s, they were using their house as what we call cash cows, constantly refinancing. So it got our people of color, particularly African Americans and Africans, in trouble. And so we decided we need to do more in the community besides, it was one thing to teach people how to buy a home, but how do you sustain that home? How do you sustain your position in the community? So we created, and I think Kyle sent you information of our programming. So I don't want to go into each of the programming. I just want to highlight the ones that I feel were intentional or totally intentional because of some of the issues that we saw and what I've just talked about. But we started a program called Asset Preservation. So what was happening also is that the families, and a lot of this is family. I know our families didn't want to talk about death. It's just a hard subject to talk about. But when you have assets like a home or just anything really, then you need to have a plan for those assets for when you pass. Well, we understand that. A lot of people understand that, but unfortunately, historically, that has not been the case in the African American community. So we offer free wills and estate plans. And so, and it is, most of our programs are income, they need to be income qualified. However, we pushed the city to make these income qualifications a little higher than normal. Because 80% and 100% of median income, really, you think it looks kind of like okay money, but it's really, it's not a lot of money in this day and age. So we offer that. We partnered with a nonprofit law firm, and we offer those. And it took a little while for people to catch on, like, oh, I don't really trust that, because there is a trust issue within our community. And we know that. That's why we've been patient, because we know that trust is one of the things that went out the window, so to speak, years ago for most people living in the community. So we started that, been very successful. The city of Portland does, they fund that program, and they have funded it now for 3 years. So we're still getting that word out. We also have an IDA match savings program. So if you don't know, this individual development account, those funds can be used anywhere in the state of Oregon. So the funding that we get, it's either, there are restrictions. It depends on where it comes from. So some of our funding comes from the city of Portland, which we have to use within the city of Portland limits. We have funds that come from the state of Oregon, and those funds can go anywhere in the state of Oregon. And then IDA is the same. You can buy a house, you can live in Portland, you can buy a house in Lincoln City if you want to, if that's where you want to be. But that's a good thing about we love the IDA, and it is a match savings. They do not pay it back. And right now, because of another program, Department of Economics, the CASA of Oregon has partnered with, and so we are offering a 10-to-1 match. So that means that every dollar the client saves, that it would be matched by 10. So that's been a very successful, and there is a limit to how much, because it's like, oh wow, I got $2,000 to match this, or 5,000, but there is a limit to how much you can get out of the program. But it still has saved many of our homeowners to getting a home. And we also use IDA for home repair, so that has also been a blessing. Every year we have a homeownership fair. We bring in the industry. We used to host them at Emmanuel Hospital, and I think Commissioner Doho, I think when you came to that fair, because one of the first, I think it was at PCC. But and so Emmanuel Hospital changed their rules and regs. So the last couple of years we've been floating around, but this year is our 25th anniversary. And so 25 years of doing this fair. It's like crazy, but it's October 26th. And I'll be sure to get more information out to you as we begin to market. Great time. I always believe in having fun. I think that fun goes with facts. And, if we can have both, then it sticks. It's more, absorb it easier, I think. So we have music. When this year we're going to have a couple singers. We'll have performers, and of course our industry will be there. Realtors, lenders. We'll have a couple workshops, but it's just a good resource for anybody, whether you're a homeowner or whether you want to be a homeowner. So that's October 2. And then we have a Homes for Sale bus tour. We started this about 5 years ago. This is a community builder. We rent a big bus, the 42 passenger, bus, charter bus, and and it does cost. And by the way, our services are free to our participants. And so we rent the bus and we bring in, people come and they, sign up to go. And what we do is we tour different homes and we tour homes that are within the price range of course, our constituents, because, well, why go outside of that? And we work with the realtor to find those homes. And it's really an organized effort. It's a lot of fun. People eat lunch when they walk out. When they leave, when we come back to home base, the participants come out, oh, let me get your phone number. Yeah, let's go look at homes together again. And it just really builds something because everybody on that bus is after the same thing, and that's home. So it's a great way to get our folks out and get them out of Portland. Portland has this, it's a little exclusive. It's like people are here and they just haven't been welcome in other places. I don't know. I'm from Illinois. I have a different mindset. And when I came, it was like, wow, okay, so Portland is it, huh? And so let's expand our horizons and get outside of Portland. Let's go look at Sherwood. Let's go look in Hillsborough. Let's go look and find some other places to live. This is why the devastation on the takeover of Northeast Portland was so huge, because people didn't know what else to do, and when being put, and I don't mean everyone, I'm just generally speaking, there were some that were able to get out, to find their way, but it was devastating. And so watching that, I know that there's a lot of work to do. So I'm going to try to get through. And so the other program I want to highlight is, we call it Power to the People. So what that program is about is getting African Americans and other people of color up to speed when it comes to electrification, transportation, clean energy. We don't know that we're the last of the Mohegans to learn about things that benefit us as a consumer and as a community member. So most folks didn't know that, oh, there's retrofitting. There's, you could have your home retrofitted with heat pumps, with different things that's going to not only save you money monthly, but also bring you up to speed in this era. It's a national effort and it's going to happen. You can call it climate change, global warming, whatever, but it is happening. And nationally, we're moving in that direction, probably internet. I don't know about the international efforts, but I do know national. And so we have funds. We've gotten funds from the Portland Community Energy Fund, and you probably heard of that by now. We were one of the first ones that they funded, and we've really done some great work. I'm excited about it. And one of the reasons, we had a workforce development piece, and we actually trained 7 African Americans to become their own contractors. These folks are installing new heat pumps. They're installing furnaces. They're doing it all. They're doing the work that we need to do for ourselves anyway. And I'm excited about it because it's growing. And so anyway, I get excited about Power to the People. But so we've actually probably spent over $1 million in 2 years in retrofitting some of our homeowners' homes. And you have to be a homeowner, of course. And the money saved, and we actually installed our first solar panels. That's another way that Oregon has lived on solar for over 40 years. But most of us don't know that. We don't benefit from that because we weren't included in that. And it's an industry that's busting wide open. And it's opportunities for for folks, whether it's jobs, whether it's sales, whether it's just, I'm going to get solar because I wanted the benefit of not paying out tons of money on electricity. So, there's any reason that you may have, but it is an industry that's open for us right now. I just want to give you a few facts real quick. Homeowners have about 40 times the network of renters. So the average homeowner has about $299,000 in equity in their home. You might be able to attest to this, Commissioner Doho. You've been owning for a while now. But approximately 31% of homeowners are African Americans, and the 64% are white. So there's a disparity right there. Our organization has just dispersed $850,000 for fiscal year 2024, which we're actually coming out of right now. But in 2024, we dispersed $850,000 to Black homeowners and, homeowners of color, I should say, to help them prevent foreclosure. So those included mortgage payments. They were entitled to up to $20,000 that we could pay to help them get caught up. And we did that. The only thing was you don't come in here and get the money and leave. You come in here and get some education. Each of those have to come in for counseling and budget management, because obviously there was a problem. You can tell me that, we weren't working at that time. Okay, well, there's still a budget issue here. We're gonna work on that. So it's just not, here's the money. We'll see. Good luck. We also dispersed $1 million in down payment assistance for first-time buyers. Half of the funds, $500,000 of those funds, went to first-time or first-generational Black homeowners. And those funds came from the state of Oregon, the Oregon Housing and Community Services. So we work with there. And so I want to talk about just quickly again, and is my time good, Mr. Saunders? Am I doing okay on time?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we talk about, the industry or the public talks about building generational wealth through home ownership. I beg to differ. I want to bring this to your attention because there's not a level playing field when it comes to home ownership for everyone. One of the barriers are there's limited housing stock within the Portland Metro. The gap between affordability and the market is huge. There's probably, and this is the average working Joe. This isn't, you don't have to be, make $200,000 a year to have a gap, to not have a gap, I should say. But there's about $185,000 in what the market is showing and what people can actually afford. Also, the interest rates are higher, and of course, they're higher than most. They're higher than they've been in. I think it's been over 20 years. The permanent affordability models don't fit us because, again, there's not a level playing field, and the cultural differences. So, what the majority of Portland wants to do is make every house that's being built and put it into permanent affordability. What that means is it's either a model like land trust, which is, it's a model. I mean, land trust works. I've seen it work on the East Coast very well, but that's the East Coast. The controlling entities were the people themselves. Here, it's not. It's usually a nonprofit ran by other than Blacks. And it does bother me, but what bothers me is that they target African Americans. So, that model works for if you are low income and you have to understand what you're doing, what you're getting into, because you don't have the land. They take the land out of the equation. So you don't have the land as part of that bill, that wealth. So I've talked to them. I says, don't call it that, please, because you're going to confuse folks about what's really, how you really build wealth. Now I can go home to the same place I grew up in Illinois. That is generational wealth right there. Not that I can sell or anything or want to, but I can go. It's there for us as a family. That's generational wealth. It's not. That's the land. There's the value. Because my dad always said, own a piece of the land. You got to have the piece of land. Your structure can blow down. It could burn down. It could do all, but the land is the value. Okay. So we take that out. Again, it works for some people. I don't want to just scorch. I'm not here to bash those models. I'm here to point out that those models don't work for everyone, but they're right now it's in Oregon, it's being pushed as the way, but it's not the only way. So I do have a solution. I'm gonna get to it in just a second. There are two nonprofits right now in the state of Oregon that have single family homes that they're selling. Okay, well, they're running into, some hard times, financial, which most of us are, some financial issues, and they have to sell a large portfolio. Okay, sounds fine. Wow, what an opportunity, you would think. But what the conversation has been about is keeping these into a permanently affordable housing model, or selling them to an out-of-state investor as a portfolio. So in other words, here's my portfolio. How much will you give me for this? So again, to this, by the way, these houses were also donated by the city or county once upon a time. And those same homes, once upon a time, probably came from who knows whose grandmother that lost it because their kids were selling crack on the streets, or they lost it because nobody cared and they just ran off and left the house to go for taxes. So who knows where those houses came from originally, but they came from somewhere, and most of them were in Northeast, because that's when I started working in this industry. So I know this. And so you have a whole stock of a portfolio of homes that could go to the people that we're trying to serve now. And they're probably the kids of the folks. Some of the people remember the homes. They're like, oh my God, my grandma, that was my grandma's house. Well, no longer, because it was lost. And so I feel like there's no accountability to not only the public funds, public monies, and also these were public money that went into them to fix them up, or or get them off the tax rolls, or whatever was needed, bring them up to living condition if they were, some of them were derelict. But so you have public monies that went into these homes. Where is the accountability to that? Where are the measurable community impacts and the long-term and short-term goals for these homes? So a solution could be to divide that portfolio between the existing nonprofits that have strong, successful track record working with African Americans. Conduct a cost analysis and not a market. Right now, they're conducting a market analysis, not a market analysis. Those homes were free to use. So what do you? So you're trying to get homes. You're trying to get market rate, but the market is against us. We're fighting the market anyway. I'm sorry. It's just, to me, it's appalling that what's happening. But I'm bringing this to you because I still believe that the accountability needs to happen. I'm not sure, what we could do at this level. I don't know. But I think that by not presenting or not performing a market analysis, that it would eliminate the affordability gap that we have for our homeowners of color. And, I I said, now, if you had a program, and I think it was this commission once before was working on respirations. I was talking to Kyle about that. And I'm not sure whatever happened to that, but we were trying to model some of the other states that are actually very successful in creating respiration for people of color. But creating some respirations, to create a cure for housing and justice for African Americans could be a program, but accountability, and I don't think there is any. So that's all I have, and open to any questions. By the way, this is my passion. I've been doing this work for over 30 years, and I was appalled when I moved to Portland and saw the condition with how people were treated as homeowners and how it was so hard to become a homeowner. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Cheryl. That's definitely a lot of information that I feel like we all definitely need to hear and see how we can help you out with OCBA as well. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Commissioner Juggle? I believe your mic is on. There you go.
Okay. So again, Cheryl, again, thank you so much. I know there are a new program after I went through your program 17, 18 years ago. Again, as I said earlier, when I went to the program, my credit score is so bad, so low that even the public library will not give me a book, So, but going through this program, it helped me a lot. And 6 months after, into this program, and things have changed. So, and since then, I've been also referring other African immigrant and refugees to take this opportunity.
Yes.
There is the problem with our community is information sharing. We don't get those information in order to build wealth like other communities. And I am actually the testimony for this program, the African American, home ownership. I'm one of the beneficiary, and it helped me a lot. Just not me, but my family. And Cheryl, what I wanted to ask you, if I can invite you to come and speak, at the Africa House staff meeting, because I benefited from this program and I want others to benefit too. So if you can share the same information that you're sharing now to the African community, if you have a time, it's going to be next Monday, at 10 a.m. And if you have a time, I will send you an invite so that you can present to our community leaders.
Now, is that Monday? The would be the 5th?
Yes.
Oh, I can't attend.
If not, I can invite you to for the following months, because we'll have meeting the first Monday of the month.
I can do that.
Okay.
Just send me an invitation for the next one. Yeah, I'm sorry. I could try to see if I could change. It's one of those long-standing doctor's appointments. I probably won't get in. I probably better not. But sorry about that. But
Okay.
I could have someone else, unless you just want me. I could have one of my staff come.
No, I want you.
And I've come before, and I'm telling you, you're the folks you serve. They come. They are just they're really diligent, and I like that. They're serious about buying homes. You put the fear of God in them or something. they so thank you, but thank you.
Because most African immigrant and refugee, we came from a cash society, so buying taking loan, buying a house is something new. So we need this kind of education in order to be comfortable to apply for a loan. And again, like you said earlier, this is a best way to build wealth in our community, and especially the immigrant and refugee who are just here with nothing. If they can afford to own a home, I think this is the best opportunity. I went through the IDA program in order to get the money, the 8,000 for closing costs and all those. Yeah. So, and not only that, it's also helped with, the financial fitness training that we had at Emmanuel Hospital. It helped a lot. People will help you how to build your budget and how to pay your bill on time, and all those are basic things that we as refugees don't know those things. And I learned from there in order to be
Yeah.
able to educate other people too. Yeah.
Well, you're not the only ones, but there's folks born here, right here in the United States that don't know either. So it's just been a big problem. It's a problem. Kind of systemic, I think, a systemic issue. But if anyone has any thoughts on or suggestions on, these properties, I mean, I'm not sure what to we're throwing our name in the hat as far as being being able to purchase, a couple of the homes, but there's a huge portfolio, one is actually Washington County they have, I think, over 60 that are ready or that have to be sold. That's a lot of houses. And the problem is we're not finding single family houses anymore. You won't find that. And a lot of our people with little families, they still have that dream of having the picket fence and the single family house. So why not? And then here you have a bunch of them that are going to be sold to investors. I don't think that's not fair. So I don't know if any of you, if anyone can, if you have a housing committee, maybe the next meeting, I can let you know. You can come and hear for yourself and maybe make suggestions. I don't know. I thought I just throw it out there.
Absolutely. There's just that's something that we will definitely continue to talk about. I know Terrence definitely asked some question in the chat too about like what are some barriers that you see within housing that may be
Oh,
good to mention for OCBA when it comes to statewide, and also what changes need to be made that OCBA can elevate to as well. So if you have any thoughts on that, and then we have to be brief because we have to be moving to the next section. But if you have any thoughts on that, that'd be great.
okay. Do you want me to comment in the chat? Who's asking? Oh, Mr. Saunders. Okay. Well, yeah, the barriers are just as I've seen them. Do you want me to talk about those now or write to you?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
somebody's mic is on. So I know probably that might not be a brief answer. If you so probably just like write that back to us, that'd be great. And then we'll be able to kind of just go from there. I know Terrence, do you have another question?
Okay, I'm going to put my email in there as well. And if because I think what's going to happen is me and writing is I'm not going to be able to stay in this chat long. So can
Okay.
I would you mind emailing me? And I'd be happy if you have a moment we can do another um, uh, off session meeting or something.
That's perfect. Yeah, just put your email for us in the chat, and that would work.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much. For the sake of time, we're going on to our next section of commissioner updates. For this one, it's just when we go over each commissioner with any update they have as far as on the work that they do, as far as in their personalized, also guidelines with the commission too as well. For this, you can just be brief for the sake of time. So we'll start with Commissioner Drury. You have a lot to discuss.
Man, how did I know I was going to get picked to go first? Can y'all hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I'm kind of bouncing between two devices that aren't doing great work. But anyways, good to be here. I don't have too many updates. One thing I would just say is I'll send y'all an invite. We're having a community showcase next week, next Thursday for Word is Bond. It's the end of our summer showcase, which highlights all the work that we've done here in Portland with our first-year ambassadors, our second-year ambassadors who are doing internships around the city, and then the young men that Commissioner Dogo was just speaking about that went to Ghana a couple weeks ago. So it's a really good opportunity to celebrate Black youth leadership, hear some original works of poetry, music, and check out their exhibition that they're going to be doing. It's going to be at PCC Cascade Campus. So that's the one update I have in that regard. And the other thing that I would just suggest folks do, there's going to be a ton, it's August, so folks are going back to school shortly. So there's a ton of back to school events happening. One that I want to highlight is at George Park, which is in St. John's area. I know Senator or Representative Nelson helped work on securing some of the $4 million that was secured for that park. So I think that's on, I want to say the 28th. And then one more plug for Word is Bond. We're going to be doing a 5K community walk at the end of August. And it's an opportunity to walk through Old Town in Lower Albina and learn about some of the different projects that are going on there to build Black community, as well as get your steps in. So I'll send you all an email with both of those invites and just encourage y'all to check out some of the back to school events that are happening and either donate supplies, backpacks, or just support some of the Black led organizations that are doing that work. So those are my updates.
Thank you, Vice Chair Drury. That's a lot of great work you're always doing. Commissioner Umpelder Branch. There we go.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. I don't like the phone, and I'm going to say I don't like MS Teams. But anyway, along with that, for the research committee, is that what you're asking me about, Commissioner?
No, this is just for your commissioner updates.
My commissioner update?
Yeah.
Okay. My commissioner update would be that the research committee did not meet this month. As we go to talk about these other subcommittees, it may be a consideration for us to do it that way as opposed to a research committee. What we had last year is we had a research assistant we do not have this year. And so it's very hard to, one, meet because we have people traveling all the time and or busy. And the other piece is we need to really have that assistance in terms of being able to pull research, and we don't have it this year. I would say that. Other than that, I don't have much else to report.
Thank you very much.
Oh, domestic violence. I'm sorry. I do have that little bit. Domestic violence, we're still waiting for one of the commissions to vote to see if we're going to have a commission-wide group that meets. And I think we're waiting for the Hispanic Commission, if I remember correctly, to vote. Other than that, we did meet, and most of the commissions are pushing forward and wanting to have a commission-wide subcommittee.
Perfect. Thanks much, Commissioner. Commissioner Rankin, would you have an update for us?
Thank you very much, the chair. I want to appreciate dear sister Cheryl for such an enlightening information. In fact, somebody like me, I've never heard that. So I am interested. I want to be like Commissioner Doku. I will like to have such a rich history. And that's something to remember. And that will make Cheryl Robert an example of furnishing the greatest part of my successful friendship. Okay, prior to my falling ill, I had an incredible opportunity to collaborate with the Lions Club of the Dalles to sanitize our folks on election and voting, which was one of the prior area I was considering. So the group, being the only group I can partner with in this area, a very committed group of people took up the job and they spearhead their effort around Hood River and Wasco County and Sherman County. And according to Dick LaFever, the result was awesome. But what I realize in this area is that a lot of people have lost interest in election and voting. And most of the people are telling me that a politician will tell you that just like the wolf and the sheep, I quote Dick Lafever, that they will become vegetarian after election. And after election, they will eat about 80% of the sheep. So it seems that the people here have lost interest in election and voting. And I am glad that I didn't do that myself, because it's like they will look at me as another liar has come. So I decided to talk to the Lions, and prominent people were there, including the mayor. We have about 3 former mayors in the Lions that joined this group. And then the appeal was successful, from what I heard yesterday from Dick Lafever. And then these few weeks, I will follow up from there. Because when I was in Salem, that was the key which Maya shared with us. And part of her email talks about election and voting. And so I decided to key into this to see what we can do for the people of this area to rise up and vote. That's for now. And permit me to thank Commissioner Drury and Commissioner Dogo for a wonderful trip to Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rankin. Could we get Commissioner Dogo? We haven't called you yet.
Thank you, Chair. And again, I want to take this opportunity to thank Vice Chair Drury for giving me this opportunity to going back to Africa. So thank you, and thank you, Cheryl, for being here today. I don't have much update, but Africa House and the African community in general, we still facing serious challenge with asylum seekers. So some of you may know already some of the funding that opened the shelter at the Ramada Hotel, during Governor, Kate Brown, and continue a little bit with the current governor, was closed down. And since then, we have so many African who are on the street. Some of you may have seen them. They're living on the street under the bridge, like any other houseless, people that we have in Portland, and it's created a lot of challenge. Some of those families, some of them are families, some of them are single mom with babies, especially the single mom with babies. Few community members are willing to host them for a couple of days, then other community member will host them the next couple of days, and that's what we're doing in the community, because there is no housing opportunity out there. So again, the presentation that Sharon did is aligned with housing challenge that the Black community, and particularly the African immigrant refugee, are facing. So we have so many of those asylum seekers coming from the southern border who are here in Poland. Just the Cameroonian community, coming from the Anglophone speaking Cameroonian, I have on the list now 156 people. This is just one community. So far I have more than 368 people, all Africans, that cross from the southern border, and they're now here called Portland home, but they don't have a home to stay in. Some of them are struggling on the street and all those. So this is the challenge I am facing. And since I came back from Ghana 2 weeks ago, I couldn't even go to the office because I don't know what to do with the family, how to help, and all those. But we just secure, state money for housing, and it's going to gonna start helping some of those family August 1st, which is today. but we hope that next week, starting Monday, we will be able to put few family in a long-term, housing. But other than that, the African community in general, this summer we did not face, like last summer, we lost 8 young African through the gun violence. This summer, so far, everything is okay. So, and when I ask the police, if there is a cause, and what police told me that the most of the African gang members, either they're in jail or they fled the city, and that's why we saw a reduction on gun violence and gun victims in the African community. So that's the update I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Doyle, for your update. Really appreciate that. Rep Nelson, would you have an update for us on your end?
Yeah, thank you. I will be brief. I'm in the midst of putting together my legislative agenda for 2025. Met with the OCBA folks a week or two ago. We've got some ideas that we're working on. Legislative concepts are due to can start to be pre-filed in September. So I expect to get several bills pre-filed well before session starts. The Democratic National Convention has been taking up a lot of space in my life. I'm a DNC member in addition to being a representative, and will be going to the Democratic National Convention. Don't want to get too political there, but there's been a lot happening in the political world over the last few weeks. And so that's about all that I got for you.
Thank you very much, Rep Nelson. I just also have a few quick updates. The first one is that we are moving the joint meeting a little bit down the road. So it's not going to be on the last weekend of school as it was supposed to be. And then also, as far as personally with our streets, we had a very nice community event that happened last week to paint a mural at our at the space that we have for low-income housing. And also, I want to thank OAC staff for being at the petition that we had about a month ago to go over our plan for the project. It was definitely great seeing a lot of you there. And I also want to bring attention on there's an event happening on August 25th from 2 to 6 p.m. It's on Albina it's a place called the Falcon Arts Building. And long story short, it's a building that was bought by a developer that wants to turn it into very luxury buildings. If you know the history of Albina, it's at least a street that folks in the community want to keep especially with the Black community. So the folks there are trying to get folks there for a community event to get at least the folks who have already bought the property to be able to get it back to the community. So I plan on showing up there just to have like a voice and just to help them out there too as well. So if you all or at least are free that day, it's going to be a community event with like food, art, and vendors as well. So that is my update that I have for today. We're going to transition into the biannual report by Dr. Cobb.
Thank you. I am going to be very brief on this. So in the chat, I am putting a link to a Google Drive and a Google Drive folder, which I'll kind of share a little bit about what that is, and then just sharing this little screen so you can kind of understand a little bit more about the biennial report. So if you click on that link, it'll take you into a Google Drive folder where for now I have 4 of the past biennium updates from OCBA. So from 2010 up until just the last one that was done in 2023. I'm working with the state library to get as many of the archived ones as possible, but they're just kind of in the middle of a digital transfer. So I should have those for you at the next meeting. I just wanted to make sure you knew about the biennial reports. It's something in your statute that every 2 years it is mandated that you communicate to the governor and the legislative assembly kind of the activities of OCBA over the past biennium and also what you're intending to do for the upcoming biennium. So the next report is going to be in June of 2025. And I know that that seems like a long way away. However, we'll probably only have like less than 5 meetings before then. So just wanting to get it on your radar. I also would encourage you to look through the biennium reports because I think it can be really inspiring to see what the commission, has been doing over the decades. And I'll be giving more updates on other things, but just kind of wanting to bring that to your attention. And if any of you are interested in working on the biennium report, I would love to have you involved. So let me know. And so that's it for me on that for now.
Thank you, Dr. Count. Next up, we have Dr. Saunders with America 250.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this is just a continuation of the conversation around the America 250 Commission. That was a bill that passed in this 2024 legislative session. Each commission has a dedicated seat on that commission. So we do need a representative. During the last meeting, it was decided that Senator Woods would be that representative for OCBA. However, he is not able to fully participate as he is a legislator. So we do need somebody from community or commissioner to fill in that seat on that commission. So want to just throw out if there's any interest among current commissioners to be appointed to that commission. And if not, there's somebody from the community that would love to be the liaison between OCBA, and I'd be happy to talk through that in a second. So if anybody's interested, please voice now. And if not, I'll jump in with the person that would like to be appointed. Okay, seeing none, hearing none. So Zachary Stocks, he is from the Oregon Black Pioneers. He's the executive director over there, and he would like to serve as the liaison between OCBA. He's willing to provide written updates to OCBA for each commission meeting as they progress in planning for America's birthday, which is July 4th, 2026. Just a little bit about Zach and why he's interested in serving on the commission is that America's semi-quincentennial is once in a lifetime opportunity to reflect on our nation's progress towards its founding principles. That work will involve celebration, scholarship, and reverence, but is also a critical examination of many wrongs. His hope is to ensure that voices of African Americans like himself are included in the anniversary planning so that our local commemorations accurately represent the diverse perspectives of the past 250 years of the American experience. So any thoughts there? And would like to move that for a vote if there's no feedback.
I think that's a great idea to have him serve on this committee in conjunction with us. Just knowing how our team we're so strapped for just like all the things that we're doing, and I think that this is a great way to engage other folks to be a part of OCBA, and it's the Black Pioneers of Oregon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen some of their work, and I think that that's a fantastic addition. And I think that we should also look for other ways to partner, just kind of how I was mentioning with our first guest speaker around housing. I think that that's a way to build outreach, and instead of reinventing the wheel on certain things, like tap into events that are already happening. And that's kind of what I've been saying before, as far as like the work that we do on this commission.
Fully agree.
Yeah. running it through there. So I'm in favor of it.
So we will need a vote. So if anybody would like to make a motion,
I would like to motion to call it to a vote. A second?
there's a second.
I second it.
Perfect. Do you want to just do votes by raising your hand? So all in favor, just raise your hand through the chat. Perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And anybody opposed?
Commissioner for the branch, we can't see your virtual hand, so you may need to come off mute just because you're on the phone.
Commissioner for the branch.
You're still muted on our end, so if you are talking, we can't hear you. You may need to unmute. Okay, it looks like she dropped off.
I think so too. Do we need a majority vote? Or
She may be rejoining, but I believe we do need majority.
we can give her a minute.
While we're also waiting it may be a good time to go back to the top of the agenda and vote on minutes, if we do have quorum for the time being, just for the agenda and previous meeting minutes as well.
Absolutely, I'll do that right now. I'm going to do a quick transition into minutes from last meeting by unanimous consent. So typically, if you were not at the meeting, you would likely abstain from approving the minutes because you are not in a position to say whether they are accurate or not. It is important for folks to review the minutes that we are endorsing and its accuracy. You can take a minute to have Commissioner right now look through your email from Ava. There should be the minutes attached from last meeting, so the agenda for this meeting.
Yes, I sent those out on Monday or Tuesday of this week, in addition to Executive Director Saunders' OCBA report. Just one note, with Commissioner Fother Branch dropping off the meeting, you no longer are at quorum.
Right. Okay. And
so I'm trying to call her, but her phone is rolling direct. Oh, here she is. She's back on. So you may now vote.
Perfect. Let's do a quick vote then on the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to view the minutes from last meeting? Has anyone not had a chance to view minutes from last meeting? Perfect. Commissioner Feather Branch, your hands up. Leave you on mute.
So you may be on double mute.
I think she's out. We may not have a chance to vote right at this moment, so for the sake of time, let's wait until she has her connection fully back. We'll just transition back into our new business and go along with the other section for the new subcommittees. If that's fine, everyone. So for this section, I'm going to be also trying to be brief as possible. I am propositioning having new subcommittees for housing, education, and healthcare. Well, for one, I want to be able to look into the bylaws that we have and get it updated. Because being able to do it in this way will be able to help us to streamline our operations, and also for when it comes to the launch sessions and the social sessions too as well. And also when it comes to communities that we already have right now, as far as legislative outreach and research, they all already tie in when it comes to housing, education, and healthcare. It was to just make things a lot easier, and they'll be able to help us to streamline the focus and be able to get like exact priorities that we need for the sessions. And we'll also be able to hold meetings with state agencies as well, and then report back to OCBA meetings and discuss the issues that we have at hand based off of the research that we found through our subcommittees. So I want to be so another thing that I want to be able to do is encourage all of you to attend the legislative days that is going to be before our next meeting, where you can be able to sit in committees and also be able to observe what our priorities there, and also what we can be able to align ourselves with too as well, and also get any type of results that we may need. Because the goal will be to also for us to dive deeper into the priorities that we already have and to report back on the findings through OCBA. Does anyone have any like questions or concerns on just kind of like what I just said? Perfect. So what I'm gonna just do like at this meeting is kind of ask each commissioner for like just what subcommittee they would be interested in. So it would be housing. Where's my notes again? Sorry. So it'll be housing, also education and healthcare. So Commissioner Dogo, housing, education, or healthcare?
Housing.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Further Branch, is she here? Oh, she's not. Yes, she is.
Commissioner Fotherbranch is here, but she is on double mute.
Oh, okay. We'll come back. Commissioner Rankin.
Nothing for now.
You said housing?
Research.
So no, would you like housing, education, or healthcare?
Housing.
Perfect. Thank you. And Commissioner Drury's not here now. And I believe that's all the commissioners we have right now. And at this moment, what I see, and now I'm interested in education at the moment too as well, and housing. Also I'm gonna ask now for sorry, I keep losing my notes. So I'm gonna ask for not commissioner, but Director Sanders to get the feedback from folks who are not at the meeting. That way we can at least be able to have a list of interest from folks who were not here for us to at least move forward. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely.
Now we're going to old business, and the first one would be from Dr. Dr. Kyle on the goals for the biennium.
Thank you, Chair Bucci. And I just want to do a clarification for staff. As far as the subcommittees go, I'm assuming you're going to want to have around 3 commissioners on each committee. And so if we already have Dogo and Rankin on housing, are you wanting to be on the housing subcommittee, Chair Bucci? Just so we're not trying to overstack the subcommitties in between the
No,
meeting.
I
Just
will
putting
leave
it there.
that and to everyone else. And
Okay,
then
fantastic.
if there's gaps,
Okay.
I'll fill in.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, let me share my screen again for us visual folks. And I'm going to be co-presenting this with Micah Ingram, the health equity lead. So at some point, we'll be kind of handing off different sections of this. So this is your policy and research update for your August 1st meeting. I'm going to share some progress on your commission priorities, first with housing, and then the domestic violence prevention and statewide coordination subcommittee, which is a joint effort with all the other commissions. And then healthcare, education, we've already covered the biennial reports, but I've also slide in a bonus update around legislative days. So first with housing, thanks to Cheryl Roberts, you've got that connection there. Some potential next steps that we're thinking about now that there's already a subcommittee being established. I am going to be the lead on the housing subcommittee work. Micah and Kai and Grace, the health equity team, are going to be the staff supporting you in the education and healthcare subcommittees. So you'll be hearing from me to schedule the meetings around housing. A few things just to know about for those of you who've already mentioned interest in being on the housing subcommittee. There was a task force on homelessness and racial disparities, and they have a report. So I will share these slides with you so you have links to all of that. It could be helpful to read up on that. And then I have a list of all the Senate and House committees related to housing, which I'll show you at the end here. So as far as the domestic violence prevention and statewide coordination, or DV work group, as we are calling it, I just want to kind of elevate the reality of when there is a subcommittee, we are able to get so much more work done faster. And so the subcommittee on DV has been meeting on the 3rd Thursday of every month for about an hour and a half. And as a kind of update, there was an advisory report that came out in October of 2023, and not a lot had happened from there. And so the Joint Commission subcommittee has been meeting to really try to monitor the progress on that. So there's some exciting news. The chief audit executive and statewide response coordinator for the state has been tasked by the governor's office and the state chief operating officer to develop a response to the advisory report. This is, in large part because of all of you. The subcommittee met on July 18th with Eli and several domestic violence service providers to discuss the report and potential solutions. And while there was kind of this long-term, philosophical discussion around, how does Oregon become a state free of domestic violence, the immediate need that came up was a strategy regarding filling the gaps that are going to happen when there's a bit of a cliff happening with the Victims of Crime Act funding, which is a federal grant that's administered by the state. And there's going to be a significant cut in the funding. And so what we have been doing is been talking to DOJ, the Oregon DOJ. They have let us know that they're expecting to be about $10 million short in being able to fill the funding needs for their competitive grants for service providers in the state. So they are likely going to be requesting $10 million to fill the gap in VOCA funding from the emergency board at the September legislative days. And this is a space where the DV subcommittee is going to be able to really advocate and testify, send, letters of support. And so we're kind of working on that. So just letting you know that, what started as a domestic violence priority got really narrowed down and focused in on an immediate action of requesting approval for the VOCA funding gap of $10 million. So we'll keep you updated on that. The next DV subcommittee meeting is Thursday, August 15th from 11 to 12:30. We're going to have folks from DOJ coming and speaking about the need. There's going to be service providers and advocates if you're wanting to come to that. And there's also a DV annual conference in Sun River in October, which we may be seeing some OCBA DV committee members joining. I'll pass it on over to Micah for the healthcare update.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, so there's lots of fun stuff happening around healthcare. Our health equity team has been working really, really hard, particularly in healthcare and education. So it's kind of perfect that we are taking over the subcommittees for y'all's commission. So first update I have is you all asked for a Black health fair, and we are diligently working on that. And so we do have a meeting with OHA and OHSU next week to chat more about like the details around a Black health fair. I'm personally really, really excited about that. If there is like one person from the commission that's really jazzed about that and like wants to join the meeting, feel free to let me know, and I'd be more than happy to forward that meeting invite to you. It's just our like very first like initial conversation, Chair Bucci. I can definitely forward it to you. But yeah, we're like all kind of like meeting for the first time, just chatting about this topic. So I'm really, really excited about that. The following week on August 12th, we also have a meeting with OHA's Vital Statistics Data team. They are all equipped with all of the data, knowledge, and things that we don't necessarily have the access to. And so they have all of the answers when it comes to like disaggregated data and things like that. And that's been a really big priority for our team. So I'll definitely have more to share once we have that meeting. And again, if someone is really interested in joining that meeting, I'd be more than happy to like invite one or two folks from the commission to just kind of listen in on that. There's also been a recent update about the State of Black Oregon report. So the Urban League is set to update that report, and there's more info about that coming soon. That was something that Kyle was on sort of on tabs for, and Kyle just put a link in the chat for that information. So if you're interested in learning more about that, I highly recommend clicking the link. And then we have a Momnibus 2025 update, and I'll talk more about that on the next slide. But in terms of next steps, our team is going to be in charge of helping you all form a subcommittee around healthcare. So I'd really recommend you all to sort of try to think of things like more specific around healthcare that you're really interested in. We can definitely drop like the link to our tracker as well, just so that you get a sense of like what our health equity team is focused on around healthcare. But I'll be reaching out to everyone to schedule that subcommittee. And then the Black Health Fair meeting again is next week, and I have a couple of folks that I'll be forwarding that invite to, it looks like. Next slide. Yes, so Rep Reynolds has this Momnibus bill that she's putting forward for next legislative session in 2025. It was adapted, or it's being adapted from the federal level bill, and that bill had a ton of information on the federal level that was specifically geared towards the Black maternal population. And so right now they're like in the very, very beginning phases of drafting that bill. Right now they have like these 4 pillars that you'll see. for their like areas of focus. And really that's it in terms of like what the details are in the bill. Our team and Terrence had a meeting yesterday with Rep Reynolds, Chief of Staff, and it went really, really well. And I think it was more of just like an inform for their part, just to learn like just to get some more ideas of like what to put in the bill. And one of our like health team or health equity team priorities is the decreasing and addressing the Black maternal mortality and morbidity rates. Something that we learned in our maternal and child health meeting that we had with OHA last week was that our state continues to just utilize federal data to move forward programs, and we actually don't have very good like disaggregated data on the state level for that particular like maternal like Black maternal population. And so that was something that we brought up, and I just want to like shout out Kai and Grace on my team. They came so prepared in that meeting yesterday, and I think we gave them like so many good ideas to think about for like things that they might want to put in this momnibus bill. So I'm really excited about that. I think we're like that'll be like a really good win for our team and like commission, just like having some type of like involvement and input in the bill. We asked if there was any like coalitions or work groups that any folks on the commission could attend, and they're going to get back to us about that. And so I'll definitely inform y'all about that. In the meantime, I would highly recommend visiting Rep Reynolds's her web page. I can drop that in the chat. She has these big monthly Zoom meetings, and they were expecting it to be one of those like meetings where they could get feedback and have more intimate chats, but it ended up being like 200 folks and like community members signed up for it, which Rep Reynolds' chief of staff Chris said that's a great problem to have. So I think eventually they'll probably have a little bit more like smaller subcommittees to like actually have conversations, but right now she just has like those really big just general informational sessions. So I'll keep y'all updated about that. And then next slide. And then another area that our team has been working really hard in, particularly Kai, is education. And so since the last OCBA meeting, or since the June OCBA meeting, there is a African American Black Student Success Advisory Group meetings that are regularly happening. There's a recording for the June advisory meeting that I found on this link. And I would highly recommend looking at that link and getting some ideas for what you might want to tackle in the education subcommittee. Our team has a really good relationship with the folks that sort of run these student success acts. We have a really good relationship with the folks that are in like their equity and inclusion division there. So really recommend like even just looking at like the footnotes from those meetings and seeing if like anything particularly speaks to you around education and what they're tackling with those student success acts. And yeah, we can talk more about that once we start forming those subcommittees. There was also something that I found. There is another back to school event happening on August 19th, so just in a few weeks. And I just dropped the link for that in the chat. It's on Saturday, August 19th at the Salvation Army on North Williams, and it's a back to school fair. So they're doing like free backpacks, free school supplies. They're also offering like free haircuts, blood pressure checks, like all the things. And so it's being run by Multnomah County Health Department, and I thought that was a pretty good thing to include. So if you know folks with kiddos or take care of a kiddo, please send that to them. And I'll also be on the lookout for any other like upcoming like back to school type of events that are free, because there's a lot of those out there. And yeah, I think that's all I had. I saw the chat was there's any questions, feel free to take yourself off mute and I'm happy to answer.
Thanks, Micah. And then closing out our update is some information about legislative days. So I've sent you all a save the date, just kind of a hold across September 23rd, 24th, and 25th, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If you could save, if you could respond to that, even if it's just tentative or maybe, so it's held on your calendar. There, I'll put the link to the slide deck, which you can kind of interact with and click on. But I have pulled out the committees that are happening and according to your priorities. So on Monday, there's going to be the Senate Healthcare, Human Services, and then the House Behavioral Health and Healthcare, Education, and Early Childhood and Human Services. And then on Tuesday, there's going to be Senate Housing and Development, House Behavioral Health and Healthcare. And I actually got to figure this out. I don't know if Behavioral Health and Healthcare is going to be on Monday or Tuesday. It was on both days, and that's probably not right. And the House Housing and Homelessness Committee, and then the Joint Addiction and Community Safety Response, which I thought might feel relevant. So in looking at that, knowing these happen in person at the Capitol in Salem, however, they are also live streamed. So it ideally would be great for folks to be able to come to Salem if that is going to make sense for your schedule and attend these committees. Subcommittee members of the different things, should be attending these committee hearings to be learning about what's going on in the state. There's, issues are discussed, solutions are discussed. You can kind of get a sense of what's going on at the state level there. They are not open to public comment or testimony, so it would really be informational, but they are deeply informational. And so in person would be great, but if you can't come in person, we can help get you the information to be able to watch it from, home or work or listen in on it. They're about 2-hour sessions, and we have gotten, the feedback that people loved the lunch at the last legislative days in May. So I will be at legislative days. I know staff will be there all of the 3 days. I'll figure out how to maybe host a lunch one day and a breakfast one day or something. But otherwise, we're thinking that attending the committees are going to be one of the most productive uses of your time. And then we can schedule meetings with legislators, who you'd also like to speak to as you are really forming up ideas that you think, could be legislation. So I'm going to just put that there and let me know if you have any questions, but that is it for our update.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cobb.
Chair Askamota, Commissioner Featherbranch had a question.
Shoot, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Let's go ahead.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
They can.
Yay! On anything with the student success at, because I didn't have this pulled up the right way, can you send those things that you're putting into the chats into my email? I'm involved in one of those groups, but I haven't been called for a meeting yet. And I wanted to see who your contact people are. That's my question and sort of my statement. And then the other piece is there's another group who spoke yesterday in front of the city council. It's the Black Educational Achievement Movement Group, or BEAM, run by Noni Kazi. And they would love to come down to our legislative days so that we're hearing student voices. So I just wanted to add that to the conversation around education and health.
Liz, I can definitely send you like all of the links, and I'll send you a copy of the slides as well that we presented, so you have all of the information.
Thanks.
And Commissioner Featherbranch, are you interested in being on the education subcommittee for OCBA?
I most definitely am interested.
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, everyone. Let's switch into the health equity team report. I'm not entirely sure who's getting that.
That was probably an us thing, but we sort of combined forces just now, so we can skip that.
Perfect, very good. We're going to transition to our subcommittee reports. First, we have the Art Committee, Commissioner Valley Branch. Do you have any reports for us on that?
They can hear you now.
Okay, our committee's real simple. We have nothing to report at this time. I do intend to meet with the representative. I think his name is Nos. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I need a correction before I meet him to talk about what the legislature's plans are for arts in Oregon in this next legislative session. The only report I would have about artists in the community, Bobby Folder will be leaving here in a week or two to go down and do some choreographic work in Los Angeles with the best known West Coast Black dance troupe, Lula Washington's dance troupe, and putting a dance on that group. And that's it, I think. Yeah, that's it for Arts Committee.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Valley Branch. For the Executive Committee, I'll be very brief too. We are narrowing down the bills for each priority. I'll plan on meeting with each commissioner to discuss this project and just be able to define them a lot more, and also discuss the new subcommittees that we are trying to bring up and have more of a plan for that. So next we have the Outreach Committee, Commissioner Drury or Commissioner Dogo.
Outreach committee, I don't have a report to give. I wish Commissioner Drury is here, but we did a couple of events that we attend that include also the CCC Gala, and I think Taba was there too. I think 2 or 3 events that we did outreach, and I believe Saba is in 1 or 2 of those events, but I don't remember beside the one the CCC. But I remember it's more than 2 events that both Vice Chair Duriri and I we attend and represent the OCBA.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Commissioner Dogo. We do not have the legislative committee today, so we're going to skip that and go into. We already got an update already from Commissioner Branch about research, so we're good there actually. So we're transitioning to Executive Director's report from Director Saunders.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. If I am choppy, I'll go ahead and call through phone again, but just going through the Executive Director's report, OCBA currently has $6,182.86 left in general funds for commission activities. And again, this could be used for reimbursements, travel, etc. And it needs to be expended by June 30th, 2025. Currently, there's $1,230.06 left in OCBA's other funds account, and those monies do roll over for the next biennium, so I'm not too worried about spending those monies down. But that would be a great use for any commission events, activities that you all may want to throw in the future, potentially one of those being the Black Health Fair as well. For commissioner recruitment, currently there's 1 vacancy on OCBA. It's always recommended to continue to recruit for new commissioners in case if there's vacancies on the commission. I did submit a recommendation to the governor's office this past Monday with hopes to fill that vacant seat in the September legislative days for the Senate confirmation hearing. Also just mentioning that the Environmental Justice Council, Commissioner Duncan wants to be replaced on that council. So we do need an OCBA appointee or for a liaison to be appointed through the community. He is not here today, but that would be a great conversation to talk through it in the next commission meeting on what OCBA would like to do with that seat. We also talked through the America 250th Commission. I will send an email vote for that, given that we did not have quorum for that vote. Internal staff updates. So OACO has created an onboarding checklist. We've had two new folks on OCBA that did attend the onboarding. So they would be able to report out on how effective the onboarding was. Overall, we received great feedback from the 5 commissioners who were in attendance, and they are all set up in Trello. Also, we're going to continue to work on the agency. That's going to be submitted next week. So we're putting the final touches on that document as well, and it will be posted publicly on our website when it's complete. Also just wanted to get an update in regards to our POPs and LCs. LC stands for Legislative Concept, and POP is the Policy Option Package. These are items that I needed to submit in January to the governor's office to move forward as new programs, new services, new staffing for the next biennium. So just to highlight the 2 legislative concepts that we submitted, the first one being statute standardization. Currently, we support 4 advocacy commissions, and the statutes are all over the place when it comes to duties and just language. So we took a shot at standardizing the language and working with legislative counsel on drafting that language. Once it's complete, I will be bringing it to the next commission meeting and going through the new statutes that we're proposing. Also, we're changing the administrator language in the statutes to executive director just to be consistent with DAS TOMP project, which is the classification and compensation language. For the 3 policy option packages that we're moving forward, one is to extend the health equity team till June 30th, 2026, which is the sunset date of House Bill 2925, which extended the 3 positions originally, and that is to produce the final report and to continue working with community to build out the recommendations to inform the legislature. The second policy option package that we're putting forth is establishing 2 new positions that would be permanent to support the work of the advocacy commissions, and that would be another policy analyst similar to the work that Kyle's currently doing, as well as another position to focus more on training and development of commissioners' knowledge and just being able to, lead in the right direction or assist in the right direction to making a change within Oregon state government. The third policy option package is language translation services, and that's more around interpretation for public meetings to make sure that they're accessible to the commissions that we support. Other updates that I'll just mention is that we are planning a joint summit meeting or joint commission meeting. It was originally set for August 30th. However, we did make a decision to reschedule that to October 25th. To allow for the planning committee to have more time to really work on the content for the meeting to make it meaningful for all commissioners. Also just going to run through some activities of sister commissions. You all have seen emails from me a couple of different occasions, as well as Saba, our public affairs specialist, that OCHA will be hosting an event to honor Braceros on August 2nd, which is this Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Portland, Oregon Historical Society. Again, all commissioners are welcome and encouraged to attend if available. Also continuing to work with the governor's office to plan a joint meeting with all 4 commissions and the governor in attendance. That meeting will likely be set for the fall sometime later this year. still working on a date, given the governor's busy schedule around election season. Also mentioning that OGEC, the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, is providing new commissioner training next week on August 8th from 10 a.m. to 10 or 12 p.m. And encourage all commissioners to attend if available. And I will resend that email out as we get closer to that date. Other than that, that concludes my executive director's report. Back to you, Chair.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Saunders. Next, we have our conclusion for the good of the order. Just a quick announcement. When it comes to Black History Month, we would like to be a lot more involved when it comes to just the events for next year. So I think it'd be just for us to kind of figure out ideas for us to either align with other organizations or also do our own thing. But I think it would be great for us to really just align ourselves with other groups that are already going to be out there, like the Juneteenth OR event that happened this year. So if you have any ideas like that, definitely let me or Saba know. We'll definitely like to create something for us to be a part of for next year. And then our next OCBA meeting will be on October 3rd, October 3rd. And I know that April's hand is up. I believe she has something to say.
Yes, thank you for letting me speak, Chair. I just want to remind I'm still in need of attestation forms. I will say OCBA by far is the most successful commission in getting these submitted back to me. So yay, team. So I will be resending an email to those commissioners that I still need them. This is for per diems. And for submitting that, it is based on your 2023 tax year. I do need them regardless of whether you're going to claim the per diem or not. You can decline it, you can accept it, or you are not qualified. So any of those, there's income requirements, and that's all explained on the form. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ava. Well, this concludes the end of our agenda. Thank you, everyone, for being here. It was great seeing all of you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all the next time. This meeting is adjourned.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye-bye.